Hey everybody, Seville here, and today we're going to be doing the Tartarus room from TryHackMe, where we get the user and root flag, because that is our only answers today. It's a simple boot to root, so that's really awesome. It is an easy rated machine. We just do some pretty simple enumeration of services and a basic privilege escalation technique, as read here in the box description. And I think this end here is just a little mistype, but shout out to base Jake anyways, or just Jake, whoever it is. They deserve the credit anyways for making it this far. Moving forward, I feel like I should preface with some of the videos in actually all of my videos in the past are going to get a little bit of a change. I'm going to try to go back and censor some of these answers. I realized I was doing an incredibly huge disservice to all of the TryHackMe community and anybody who watches these videos. I was just kind of giving away the flags, and I didn't realize the I guess to not have to regurgitate the same word, but I didn't really realize the disservice it was causing for those watching it. It doesn't really benefit anybody to see the password, and it makes people try to go, makes them go out and do what they see in the walkthrough to obtain the flag itself instead of just copying it from the screen. So moving forward, I am just going to show maybe like half of the string, or just show that we have the ability to read it. And I'm not going to actually display the entire flag moving forward. And hopefully I can get some help from a friend that will help me kind of censor the past videos. Just thought I'd preface with that, and just give a forewarning, and also apologize for that for the lack of censorship, I guess, there. And we'll be better and stronger now, and a lot smoother. Maybe even a little bit faster if I don't babble on in the beginning of these videos, and I also don't have to show the flag. So let's go ahead and hop into it. As you can see, I have already completed this room, so this is going to be pretty easy. And again, we only have two answers, and that's the user flag and the root flag. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. I'm going to go ahead and copy this IP address, and what we can do is we can get a nmap scan going. I'm going to use my default, which is going to be SC for default scripts, SV for enumerate all versions, and then we're going to output that to the nmap directory and call it openports.txt. And we will supply that IP address. However, I have already ran that to save us just a little bit more time, and so we can just go ahead and cat that out. So if we cat that out, we get 3 ports that are open. We have FTP on port 21, SSH on port 22, and HTTP on port 80. So the best thing for us to do to start with is to go ahead and get into that FTP. So let's FTP over into that IP address, and we can supply the anonymous logon and nothing for the password, and we are in. So if we were to just list all the files and directories in the FTP folder that we're dropped into, we find the test.txt and also a uncommon little directory here, as you can see with the 3 dots. We know that the first two are in every directory by default, but this is obviously there to give us a little bit of a light bulb there in the head to be like, maybe we should look into that. So what we can do first is we can get the test.txt, and then we can also climb into that hidden directory there and do another list all, and we see that it is listed again. So we'll do the same thing. We'll go into that hidden directory again, and we'll do another list all, and we find a you got good eyes.txt. So we'll go ahead and get that as well. And now we should be able to exit because we have reached pretty much a dead end. So if we clear that out and we find our 2 txt files, and we'll go ahead and test or cat out the test.txt, and we find it's just a pretty basic, very secure FTP file. We can just remove that because that's just pretty much waste, nothing there. And we can cat the you got good eyes, and we find a potential super secret web directory which could be used on port 80. So what we'll do is we'll supply that and grab that IP address again. I accidentally took that out. Let's put it back there. Perfect. And we'll do that and come get it again. There we go. Sorry about that. So we'll go to our super secret web directory here, and we find a login page, and a Wapalizer is going to tell us that we got font awesome 5.7.1, and from here we can view the page source. Nothing too crazy there. We could run GoBuster on it and see if we get anything out of it. I'll go ahead and get that started. So we'll do GoBuster. We want to do it directory web brute force, or web directory brute force, I guess is the best way to say it. And we'll supply the entire address here, and we'll use the dirbuster word list for directory. Yeah, directory list 2.3 small, and we'll bump the threads up to 40. And we'll let that run. Oh, actually, it already popped something up for us, but we'll let that continue for a moment. If we just try to, guess a username and password, I'm just going to go admin, and we get some pretty good feedback from the server itself. It tells us that it's an incorrect username. So we could do some manual user enumeration to see when we could get a potentially incorrect password. And at that moment, we would know that we have at least a username on the machine, and we could configure a brute force command through like Hydra or something like that, whatever your choice is, and get a password and full credentials. I'm sorry, I got a little tongue-tied there. So with that being said, and we have now a login page and potentially images, as we saw here in our GoBuster. What we can do is we can actually go to images. So let's go back. We're going to go to images. If I spell it right. I can't talk nor can I type, so this is perfect for this video. We find another directory called uploads, and then we find a podcat.png, and it's just, well, it's exactly what it is. And that kind of leads us to think, okay, we have an uploads directory, and we can assume that once we log in from the login page, we will be able to upload something. So we're going to need these credentials. However, we're kind of at a dead end because the FTP didn't provide anything except for the directory to get to where we are here. And we don't have credentials to log into SSH, and GoBuster isn't giving us much more to go off of. However, we never just checked just standard port 80 or the index page, and we find that it's just the default page. However, there is always one place that you should always check when you're doing web enumeration, and that's robots.txt. And once we do that, we have a little message that says they told, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that, but we're just gonna say dark. I told dark we should hide our things deep. And we find this directory here, and what we'll do is we'll just replace robots, and we'll go into the admins directory, and we find two files here. We find a user ID file and a credentials.txt file. The best thing I can do for that is I can copy this link location, and we'll go ahead and actually cancel that and exit. And what we'll do now is we can actually do a wget and just get that credentials.txt, and we'll also get the user ID txt. So go ahead and do the same here. And now we have the credentials.txt, which we can do something like less on that, and we see that it's just a password list, so that's perfect. And we also have the user IDs, so these could be the potential users for the login page here. Now, what we can do with all that information is we can configure a Hydra command to brute force this login page. The best way to do that would be first to get burp going, so we'll go ahead and start that, and it's going to be a little upset that I haven't updated recently, so it's going to definitely warn me about that, and I just saw it pop up, so I'll go ahead and exit that. Actually, we'll close that and just do close. Perfect. So we're going to get our intercept ready, and what we'll do is we'll turn on our Foxy proxy, and it's good, so we'll go ahead and we'll do a login here. We're just going to do admin with a obviously bad password, and we are able to intercept it. So this is actually going to help us with our Hydra command here that we're going to have to write up to brute force into this login page. So we know that when we try to log in with a username that obviously isn't a user on this machine, that we get incorrect username. So that's going to help us figure out what username is going to be the correct one here. So let's do a few things here. Let's get our Hydra command ready. We're going to do Hydra. Actually, we need to go into the THM. There we go. And let's do Hydra dash capital L, because we're going to be using a user file. So that's user ID, capital dash P, because we want to supply a password file. And that's going to be the credentials.txt. And we want to supply the IP address, which is going to be 10.10.187.245. And we can make it we could turn on the verbose option, but I don't want to see all that going across the screen, and I'm sure no one else does either. So we'll just go ahead and supply. It's going to be a HTTP post form, and we know that because, well, one, we're supplying credentials, and that's usually in a post form. So we can also see that in burp as well, the HTTP header here. So with that done, what we need to do now is set up the form request, and that is going to be in our burp. We're just going to copy this portion here, put that in the beginning, do a semicolon, and we want to get the login set up now. So we're going to supply that, if I can properly do it, or paste it, I should say. And we're going to do carets, because Hydra is going to need to know where to put the user IDs and the potential passwords for these for this brute force attack, and that's going to be done with carets and then the keywords it uses. And instead of doing incorrect username, what we could do is we could do incorrect just in general. I think that should work. What I did originally was I did incorrect username, and then once it found the username, I did incorrect password. So let's just try this, and this should work. I'll give this just a second, and when it's done, I will bring us back. All right, and we are back. So as you can see, it was able to find a username and password here, and it looks like the login is going to be Enox, and the password is going to be password1234. So some very strong credentials there. We're going to go ahead and copy that. We will clear this out, and we will get a creds.txt file going, and it's Enox with the password 1234, and we'll go ahead and save that output. So what we can also do now, because we have a lot of txt files and we just have files all over the place, what we're going to do is make a directory called files, and we're going to move the credentials and the user ID and the you got good eyes into the files directory, and we'll just leave the other stuff out for right now. So we have some creds now in our txt file, so we'll go ahead and I'm pretty sure I have that already. So we'll turn off our Foxy proxy, and now we should be able to log in. So we know that the username is Enox, and the password is password1234. We're not going to save it. Hopefully that works. I know that it was kind of stuck in. Let's see if that. There we go. Enox, and then the password here, and then we won't save. And now we have the ability to upload a file, which we saw earlier in our image directory. So let's go there, images, and uploads. And now we should be able to upload a file. What we would want would be a reverse shell into this here, and then we should be able to see it in the directory of uploads, and then we could do a netcat listener, and we should be able to get a reverse shell. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is copy over the PHP shell, PHP reverse shell from Pentest Monkey that I've downloaded over to the Tartarus directory here, and then we'll configure it to match our IP, and then we should be able to upload it and get a shell. So let's copy PHP over here if it wants to. Let's see, sev.php. There we go. And I'm going to make sure I have 10.11.12.6 is going to be my IP address, and we will make sure that this is also the same. Just off just a little bit, just a tad. So we'll go ahead and make that change now, 10.11.12.6, and we'll keep 9001, the second best port, to 9002. And now we should be able to upload sev.php and get a reverse shell so long as we have a netcat listener going. So let's go ahead and get netcat going on 9001, because that is the port that we have in our reverse shell. And now we should be able to browse and upload the sev.php file. And it should say, as you see here, has been uploaded. We can refresh the uploads directory, and now we have sev.php, and we have our netcat listener. So if we run that, as you can see, we now have a reverse shell, and we could do a who am I or ID if you wanted, and we are www data. And we can also, let's go ahead and get a TTY spawned here. So import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash, Did I do that wrong? Python-c import pty.spawn. Oh, I did the wrong crap. All right, let's try that again. That was a big fail. Let's go back. I thought I had it right on the first go too. I was going to be actually pretty impressed with myself. So it's pty. It's right. I just missed the. I should have done double quotations. So .spawn, then bin bash. I almost did it again. What, did I do it wrong? Python-c import pty.spawn. Probably shouldn't waste this much time on this, but I'm invested now. There it goes. I guess it was because I was using double quotes twice, which makes sense. I shouldn't have done that. I know better. All right, so we are now in the machine as www-data, and we are in the root directory, as you can see, or the the root of the machine, as you can see. So what we can do is we can cd into home, and we can list all the users here that we see. We have cleanup, dark again, and now 32. So one thing I didn't do is sudo-l, and we have the ability to use gdb as 32. That might come in. Oh, it's been a while since I've done this box. I'm slowly remembering as I go. But let's go into cd cleanup. And what we'll do is list the files here, and there is nothing here. So never mind there. And we'll go into darks. So that's going to be d4rckh. And we'll list the files here, and we find user.txt. What we can do, wow, that came out really fast. What we can do now is we can cat user.txt, and to go back to what I said earlier is that I'm not going to show the entire user flag. So what we can do is we can do head count, and then do something like 10, I believe. Is that how you do it? Let me see. Make sure, just in case I mess up my entire video. So let's do cat creds.txt head c10. Is that how it's done? That's exactly how it's done. Okay, perfect. So what we can do is head-c10, and we get the first few characters of the string for user.txt. So we have the ability to read user.txt, and I'm sure you already knew that because I said it here as well. So we now have the user flag, so we need to move forward with the root flag. And coupled along the user flag is this py file that is owned by root, but we also have read and write abilities and execute abilities, which leads me to believe that if we cat etc cron tab, we see that root is actually running that every 2 minutes. And so with that being said, let's cat that file, cleanup.py, and we see that it is just actually clearing out anything in the cleanup directory, which we were in just a few minutes ago. So what I can do is I can append to cleanup.py. I'll append os.system, and I'll change the root directory to allow everybody, because why not? I'm sure you could pretty much do anything at this point, because the root is going to run this every 2 minutes. So you could do whatever you want. You could have it run a reverse shell for you. Anything that root can do, you can do better now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make root available to everybody. So I'll go ahead and do that. I completely forgot how to get out of this without canceling my shell here. I'll just cancel it. It's okay. I'm going to go ahead and run that back now, and I'll have to refresh. I can't believe I forgot that. I'm forgetting a lot today, aren't I? There we go. So we're in that. So it's going to be about 2 minutes before that cron job runs. In that time, I'll just go ahead and get this back. That's very frustrating. Import pty.spawn. If I can get it on one go, I should be good. Almost mistyped it, and we are back in the root directory of the box, and let's see if it already ran, if I just beat it, and I didn't. So we'll give it about a minute or so, and it should go and change the permissions on the root directory. So I'll come back the minute it's done. All right, and I'm back. It actually didn't take that long, so I apologize for that. Now, if we were to list all the contents of root, we can see that we now have the ability, and it also shows that everyone is allowed into the root directory. And you can also see the root.txt, and we can also cat the root.txt. Gotta be really slow because I just wanted to press enter right there, and we'll do head-c10, and that should show us, what did that do? No such file. Oh, I'm in the root directory. So if I go into root and then cat root.txt, head c10, had to reread that. Make sure we can see the first few characters in the root.txt file, just letting us know that we have, in fact, the ability to read that text file, and we have now rooted the machine. What you could do is you could, again, that cleanup.py file, you can modify it to where you get a reverse shell as root. You could, do pretty much anything. You could do anything you want because you have the ability to run a system command. So anything you could, I would just kind of keep it close to a one-liner and add yourself to, a group if you wanted to, add a user with certain permissions. You can do whatever you want. So we are pretty much done. That is the box. We have rooted it, and that is all we've come to do, I hope. And with that, I would like to say I appreciate you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it, and you have a wonderful rest of the week, and I hope to catch you on the next video, which I hope to be my very own. I haven't done it, and everybody else has done it except for me, so I'm hoping I can get that to you, because I was really excited about the box, and I never even released my own video. I feel ashamed, but I hope you also did it. It's the Bounty Hacker box. I hope you enjoyed it. I know you're going to tell me it was too easy, but I want you to keep the same energy for the next box, because that one I've been working very hard on since the release of my first one. And I'd like to thank everybody for their support and their kind words, and even the harsh words that came through, which helped me kind of make the next box, or curate the next box, into a little bit of a more difficult challenge, I hope, for at least some of you. You all have a wonderful day. I appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.